This is a video about our personal lives. It's about the things we hold most dear, the family and friends close to our hearts. It's not a video about a distant danger far away, or a problem to be worried about later. It is about the crisis that looms before us, and soon enough, it's not just about global climate change, but it's about our survival. It's an upsetting subject, but it is one that we need to deal with. As my favorite astronaut Chris Hadfield states, the best way to deal with fear is by preparation. There's a reason that astronauts place themselves in situations of extreme dangers and risks, all the while staying calm. They understand their risks, and they have prepared extensively for anything that might go wrong. Although this problem may seem overwhelming, it can be relatively straightforward to understand and eventually solve. In order for those of us down here on the surface to hope to survive one of the biggest existential crises our human species will face, we need to understand the problem, because it is not a fear of the distant future, but it is a problem that we are already dealing with today. The worst to come are in this century, but they can be avoided if we take action. So, what is global climate change? Global climate change refers to the unpredictable and abrupt changes in our Earth's climate caused by the warming of our globe. When fossil fuel plants burn fossil fuels such as coal and natural gas to supply our nation with electricity, greenhouse gas emissions are released into the atmosphere. These gases will stay in the atmosphere for a long time, and it acts as a blanket to retain a majority of the heat received from the sun, known as the greenhouse gas effect. We are essentially contributing to a larger and larger blanket of carbon dioxide gas in the atmosphere, which makes our planet warmer and warmer. Although higher temperatures may be beneficial for certain regions, it creates catastrophe for the rest of the world. This region works to keep habitable conditions on Earth, but we have extensively overused the system and caused unprecedented warming on our planet. The effects of global climate change has multiple chain effects. For one, the heat waves that cause the Greenland ice glaciers to melt are contributing to a rise in sea levels. As a result, thousands of tribal villages are forced to relocate not only due to floods, but also due to a loss of food source as their biodiversity die off from warmer conditions. In addition, more intense and frequent natural disasters are prompted by our global warming, such as storms and wildfires with massive destructive capabilities. Species are dying by the thousands, and we have nearly lost all the beautiful coral reefs in the ocean. To get a sense of what we're in for, climate change is a backloaded effect, meaning that we're only experiencing warming from emissions up to 20 years ago. Today, our levels are significantly higher, at levels of approximately 440 parts per million, while in the past 800,000 years, we have never exceeded 300. Whatever your priorities and concerns or whatever philosophies you hold, global climate change is a massive and complex problem, and it is present in every point of view. Whether you care about safety, equality, and healthcare, or national security and individual liberty, these are all factors affected by global climate change. Climate change jeopardizes our safety more than anything else. As it brings civilization collapse into focus, everybody faces a certain danger. No matter if you are wealthy or poor, you cannot escape the rising tides or the forest fires. Worst of all, there is no escape when you turn the faucet and water no longer comes out. This also raises a multitude of equity and healthcare concerns. As the causes and effects of global climate change are spatially and temporally dispersed, this means that those who suffer most at the expense of climate change are often not the ones most responsible for it. Poor minority communities that are living at low elevations are subject to floods and dislocation from their communities. Many Indian tribes such as Chitimato or the Inuit Alaskan tribes, they lose not only their homes, but also their ancestral land and heritage. Many of these poor communities also live next to toxic waste plants and other chemicals because they are unable to afford better housing. But this means that when floods dig up these chemicals into a toxic gumbo, as such in the case of Hurricane Katrina, they are subject to a public health disaster. If your concern is more of national security and individual liberty, this is also a major issue for you. Natural disasters can begin to break down the infrastructure of our nation, and this will severely impact our border security and croplands, making natural resources scarce. Therefore, if our civilization breaks down, those who are desperate for survival are very likely to incite warfare and chaos. Because our federal government has drawn back its efforts in climate change mitigation, enraged individuals impacted by the disaster will easily blame the United States. How safe will we be when societies collapse and our country is the one to blame? For anybody watching this, if you think this is a problem for others, it's not. It's a problem for you. Anything we could possibly care about is directly affected by climate change. But there is hope on the horizon. Although there is nearly 100% in international scientific consensus about the dangers of global climate change, there is also an agreement that we can decrease the impact if we can take action now. So, what can you do? The simplest solution is to increase awareness, to just start talking about it. It doesn't have to be a scary looming disaster, but it can be a problem that we understand, can prepare for, and can manage to solve if we're united against it. Talk to others, let them know what worries you, and talk about the innovative solutions that are coming out, or even your own original ideas. As individuals, we can take simple actions to put an effort towards protecting the ones we love, such as using reusable bags, utensils, or eating less meat. However, we cannot let ourselves be lost in the little actions, even if they add up. We also need to motivate the public with campaign and political action. No matter your political beliefs, I encourage you to promote climate change action, to fight for our survival. Each and every one of us has something to care for, which makes us the perfect person to care about climate change, no matter what it is. The fate of future generations and the changes to come are dependent on our mercy. Our actions today will reverberate for thousands of years beyond our history, and thus, we have been given the opportunity and moral responsibility to take action.